Hello, I'm following up on the last video around grief, and specifically when there's a loss and justice is wanting to be served, when you're wanting justice for your loss. In my last video, I shared my client Jane, who experienced tragedy in her life by losing her son in a horrible way, and she struggles with anger, with wanting justice, and that's what today is about. I wanted to share the profound insight that came through, and I hope that this lands in the way that is intended, and it will for those that need to hear it in this way. So I'm a channel groups of cosmic beings that are here to help us on our human journey, and my day job is channeling soul contracts and life blueprints and the reasons for your experiences. And what I see when I'm channeling for people, their soul contracts, the reason for their experiences, it changes my life every day, and it changes the lives of my clients, and that in turn has a ripple effect out into the collective. When you can understand why have you gone through what you've gone through, why have you experienced what you've experienced, trauma and the relationships and challenges you've had. So my client Jane lost her son 4 years ago. He was the person who did this did not, justice was not served in the way that we would expect it to, with a jail sentence, for instance. It was a fluke. I would call it a fluke. The person who, in charge of, the person that was responsible for is a well-known figure in the public, and so therefore he was let off. And my client was very upset. She still holds anger about, the media not reporting on the facts and what really happened. And of course, I've shared this in all of my videos, but the media is owned by the world controllers, and the world controllers use public figures to make money and control society. So the only thing that's going to be reported in the media is things that benefit the narrative. Okay, so, but what they showed me, was so profound that I really encourage you to go watch the last video, because it touches on her big soul contract in this life that's supporting the entire collective with her personal experience. What they showed me is that, of course I have my own human emotions and opinions about this, but it was pretty profound. The person that was responsible for, if he would have been jailed, her story, the story of this, would not have gone further. And what's meant to happen with this is that through her stepping into her role in serving people one-on-one and in groups to overcome grief and heal grief, and not overcome grief, but more learn to operate and accept the grief, but learn to also experience joy in life, learn to heal through addressing it and healing. This is her role individually in groups, but it also has a collective ripple effect out. Go check out the last video for the details on that. Through her work, the story is going to come out, and this is the example that they gave. Now, they didn't give, they did not give specifics or definites on this, because there's many different timelines on how this can turn out. But they said, for example, they showed her speaking. She'll be speaking in front of groups of people. It's destined. It's predestined to happen. And her story, the reasons why she's stepping into this role of helping individuals and groups, and she's going to have a profound impact on so many people's lives. Through her work, her story is going to come out, and that story is going to reach people who can make change, who can change laws, who can change how things are done at a global level. And the only way that can happen is the best way that can happen is if what we would consider justice not being served. So for this person to go to jail, even for a lifetime, her story would nothing would be changed, because justice would have been served. So for justice not to be served in the way that we expect it to, gives the opportunity for this story to reach so many people and touch the hearts of people who can actually make a difference in changing things down for the long term, for the collective, across not just this country, but across the globe. So, or the planet, I should say. So what they want me to share with you today, we all have experiences in our life where we want things to go a different way, and we don't understand, and we lose faith. We don't understand why things are going the way they are, and what they want you to understand is that there's a higher plan. And while tragedy, of course, is awful to experience in this lifetime, again, go check out her other video. You'll see I share about her other lives, that she's been preparing for this for a long time in this lifetime. the things that we sign up for in our life, soul contracts that we sign up for, are much bigger than we can ever imagine. And when we allow things to unfold, and when we find ourselves pushing for a certain outcome, and there's doors closing and things aren't working out the way that we want them to, it means that there's a better way. There's a bigger thing going to come out of this than we can ever imagine. And not that I could ever compare my situation, but for people who know me, you know, when I was in corporate, I was standing up against overt corruption and racism, and I was the only one doing it. And I was highly sought after for 15 years. I would transform entire territories and teams from the lowest in the company, literally last in the company, to the top 2% through you know, my process and empathy and compassion and creating community, etc., and my gifts and creating connection. And so I never dreamed that standing up against this would cost me my job, but it did. And at the time, I didn't understand it, and it was unfair. I had my whole career planned out. I was going to retire with the 401k, the whole dream, right? And I was distraught, and I started channeling right after this happened to me. And what I was shown was that everything that I went through had such a bigger impact, the way that it unfolded the way it did. If I would have kept my job, if I would have gone into another job, if I would have stayed in corporate, none of this would be happening. I wouldn't be channeling people's soul contracts, and I wouldn't have made change the way I wanted it to be made. Because I left and I turned down a $100,000 bribe that I was offered to stay silent, and I made this public. I still have, you can link to the story on my website. I still pay every year for the website to be up that I created. I was guided to create by my team that I didn't realize was my team at the time. It's still out there, and I'm still getting emails from people who they say that what I created on my website has helped them through similar horrible experiences in corporations. If I hadn't gone through what I went through, trading down the money in order to speak up and share these stories, I would not have had the impact. My story would not have had the impact, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. So in the moment that we're experiencing trauma, we lose our job, we lose a partnership, we lose a family member to tragedy, or a friend or family. While it's incredibly important to address that and heal and feel the emotions and go through what we need to do in the 3D, understand that my human has a hard time saying this because I've experienced my own hardship and the hardship of my loved ones and people I channel for. It's really hard to accept in the 3D, but I've seen this countless times, you guys, hundreds of times, that we signed up for these things before we came in order to do something very specific. It's not just for our own lives and our soul's evolvement. There's always a massive impact that this tragedy or challenge is having once we learn the wisdom and step into who we're here to serve from that place. It's having a collective impact. So it's while it doesn't make any sense and it feels senseless in the 3D, there is a higher calling. There's a higher reason for these things. And if we can understand that, and when you can understand your soul contracts, again, I'm a soul contract channel, that's what I do, is help you understand through channeling these insights why these things happen, so you can make the choice, if you want to look at your experience in a different way. And I can't tell you again how many emails I get from clients that say that hearing the reasons behind their trauma and challenges and relationships and experiences has completely changed their life and trajectory, and they're able to step into their mission and purpose, understanding now the deeper wisdom. So I hope this lands in the way that's intended, and just understand that as a collective, they're reminding me right now, just to end on this note, as a collective, we're going through some really hard times right now, and understand that a lot of it is coming up to show within us individually what it is that we need to still heal from. Do we need to heal from the need to control? Do we need to heal from not trusting that everything's happening in our highest good? But it's also happening from a collective standpoint to help more people wake up. From a political, religious, tragedy perspective, a lot of people are being pushed awake right now with the tragedy going on. And I don't know if you've seen, but the whole world, all around the globe, people are rising up because they're waking up because of these tragedies. So have faith. All of this is happening for a reason. Go inward, connect to your higher self for guidance. And while everything I share is channeled, please drop your questions and comments. I would love to answer them, and I'll see you in the next video.